campaign fund. In 2006, a board retreat where we usually say, you know, how do we make the chamber better? We said, what's going on in the world that we really need to know about? And if we don't know about it, take some action or advantage of, we're going to be left behind. And at the time, it was really the looming workforce shortage. For every baby boomer, every 2 baby boomers that were retiring, only 1 was coming into the workplace. And the 25 to 35-year demographic was shrinking by about 10%. So the time workers were leaving the workforce, and nobody could replace them, or not many people to replace them. So obviously changed a little bit because of the economy. However, there was something else that we looked at, and that was how mobile the workforce was. A couple of things. Several of you are what we would call untethered. All you have to do is plug in someplace, and you can work. Airport's great to have. Data lines are great to have. And then the Wall Street Journal did a study of college graduates a couple years ago, and they asked about what they were going to do when they graduated. And over 50% of the kids said they would go where they wanted to live, and then they'd figure out a job secondarily. Well, I'm old enough that my parents would have killed me if we did that. But that's the world we're living in now. So really where you live was really becoming as important as what you did. So the question for us was, well, if people are untethered, if people want to live in great places, how do we build on that and capture these people? Then we started kind of looking at what kind of jobs were out there and how they benefited the community. Service jobs paying about $22,000 a year, manufacturing about $28,000, $29,000. But the knowledge jobs that we were looking at, the knowledge jobs are paying for your thoughts. We're paying about $52,000 a year. So obviously your tax collections are going to be higher, and also these people in knowledge workforce, as you know, demand a lot of their community. They want good things to happen and live in a great place. We, in an attempt to figure out how to attract these people, we found a consulting company that was really leading edge working with knowledge workers, and that was a consulting firm that Richard Florida was a part of. And you know, Rise of the Creative Class. We use knowledge workers because here, every time we talked about creative class, we got stuck in artists, and not that artists aren't part, they certainly are. But it's also the engineers of the world, the teachers of the world, the doctors of the world, and the technology workers in the world. So we gathered funding from the city and the county and the university and the community college and GE and Partners Energy, and I'm going to leave somebody out, we shouldn't do that, PBD and the medical center, to fund a $250,000 study on what do we have to do to keep these people here and attract them. And as we were doing that, as we had hired Catalytics, they started looking at other communities, and we actually chose 25 communities to benchmark against. It wasn't anything magic. We chose them because they might be doing something really well, but they might be doing something really poorly. We didn't want to be like them. So it was everybody from Austin to Myrtle Beach. We talked to, well, Myrtle Beach has done some good things. Not well. Great coffee community, if that's where you want to live. But while Catalytics was building this, the benchmark study for us, they also talked to about 2,000 people across this community, either in focus group surveys, one-on-one group meetings, things like that. Benchmark came back, and there was one statistic that caused everybody to really drop their jaw, and that was we were #1 in job growth from 2000 to 2005, but we were 22nd in per capita income. We were closely tracking Myrtle Beach, which is not what we thought was good. So Catalytics worked through the information from the over 2,000 people, looked at what benchmark cities were doing, and they came back with 41 recommendations for us that we could look at and choose from them, parts, pieces, all of it, whatever. And as Randy said, we looked at those things that really were dramatic, or could be dramatic for us. I think the key thing, and poor John has the burden of pushing this noodle up a mountain, was our K-12 education. We have some great stories. We've got some not very good stories too. And when you're in a community this size, that's critical for people like you and your children. Entrepreneurship, you know, attracting big companies is great. That's icing on the cake, but most of the jobs are coming from growth, 2 to 4 to 5 to 10 employees at the time. So that was important. Quality of life, obviously. We want to live in a great place. And then regional image. I get calls regularly from reporters who think they're talking to Wilmington, Delaware. So, you know, it's really tough to compete if people don't know where you are. So how do we make people know where we are and enhance the image we have and talk about what we want to be? So that's the background. And with that, I'm turning it over to Rob Kaiser.